Hi there, and welcome to the Still Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Fortune Fowle, and if you're new here, welcome to a space that's all about progression, not perfection. The fact that we are becoming people, which means we have not arrived at who we're meant to be yet, but we are just getting to our destination. And so I invite you into this space, and happy Still Learning Monday. Happy Monday, guys. I hope your Monday, your week is off to a great start already in the second month of the year, and I can't believe how quickly time has been flying by. And I feel like I constantly say this. I mean, since 2020, I think I blink and all of a sudden I am 10 years into the future. Like, this does not make any sense. I don't know if you guys saw or grew up watching the show Go Luck Charlie. I did, and I actually saw this meme where it was like a past episode that they had in 2011, and it was basically an episode where they were jumping to the future of 2026 and everyone looks so old and elderly, and now we are literally living in 2026. Like, the 20th anniversary of Hannah Montana is this year. The 20th anniversary of High School Musical is coming up. Like, this is insane to me, like, just how quickly time goes by, because it feels like that was just yesterday. And in understanding how quickly time just seems to fly by, I also heard that as you get older, it seems like time goes by really fast. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but all I know is that time is passing us. Time is going by faster than we know. And I think when I was younger, I used to always say, I have so much time. I have all the time in the world. But in reality, we really don't, because in a blink of an eye, you can be here. In the other blink of an eye, you can be there. I even think about how I ended off last year, the first half of the year, I was finishing out my last semester of college, and then I blink and now I'm a full-time working adult. What are we talking about here? Like, how does that happen in a span of a year? Like, I completely moved cities, like I'm not living in the same environment. All of that just changed within that time frame, and it's insane how quickly time can pass us by. And in me really understanding that and sitting with that this week, it made me realize I forgot something, which is that time is a gift. I think that I just got used to time happening to me, that I stopped looking to have time happen for me. This week, I have been studying and looking into Chronos and Kairos, and I know, what is that? Fortune, what are we talking about? What is Chronos? What is Kairos? And you may have heard the term before from your very much biblical Bible study scholars. I am not claiming to be one of them, but Chronos and Kairos, they are essentially Greek terminology relating to time. It's used a lot and it's in reference to the Bible. And so for me, and remembering that time is a gift, and I don't think I have been using this gift wisely. I don't think that I've actually been processing that this is a gift that God gives me every single day. Every day I wake up, that is time extended on my life, time added to my life. Like, I didn't have to wake up this morning. I've lived how long now? 22 years, going on to 23 years, God willing. Like, that is time that has gone by. And can I say that in every single moment I utilize this gift of time wisely? No. But do I want to start doing that more and more intentionally? Yes. And how do I start doing that? Well, understanding Chronos versus Kairos is one of the ways I've been doing that. And I've always been interested in further understanding this because, like I said, I've always heard it referenced and spoken by very much people who are scholars, you would say, in the Bible. And I definitely want to become a biblical scholar, not even just for any accolades. Like, I just genuinely love the Word of God and want a deeper understanding of His Word, and just studying it really brings me a lot of joy. And so diving into this and understanding the gift of time and the intentionality that it requires for us to use the time that we have, because tomorrow is not promised to you. And when you're young, you think you have forever, but you don't. Like, the truth of the matter is, you don't. I think one of the times in my life where time became this really tangible thing to me, like the concept of time, and that forever isn't necessarily a thing in this mortal realm and this side of life, because I do believe in eternity. But on this side of eternity, like, forever isn't something yet that we can grasp. And so I think when my dad passed away, that was when the concepts and time really became this tangible thing to me of like, oh, everyone has a certain amount of time. Like, you don't have like forever. You don't necessarily have tomorrow. I was thinking I would forever have my dad with me. He would always be here. Like, I know I gotta worry about him leaving anytime soon, but that wasn't necessarily the case. And so what I did with that time is so intentional and so important, because I didn't have him for forever like I thought when I was younger. And so I had to be more intentional about spending time with him and making those memories with him. And even now in my adulthood, like, I try not to have regrets and wondering, oh, I could have used that time more wisely when he asked me to watch soccer with him and I just wanted to play on the computer. Like, I wish I would have done that. Like, it is those moments in my life that remind me that time is such a gift, and it's so important that we are intentional and steward our time well. And so going back to Chronos and Kairos, because those are big words, Greek terminology, and we are getting to the root of them. And essentially, I have the notebook, guys. My notebook is back out. It's back out for all of us, because I have been taking so many notes, and so much just revelation has just come to me, guys. And I just want to share it with you, because I think it's important that we all use our time well. And so Chronos, what is Chronos? Chronos refers to chronological or sequential time, minutes, hours, days, and years. It's regular measured time we live in daily. So it's your day-to-day life. It's your routine. It's going to work. It's walking your dog. It's watching TV. It is what we would say the mundane things in life is your Chronos, right? Everyday things, simple things, things that come naturally to you. Those are your Chronos moments, your Chronos times. And Kairos actually refers to an appointed time, divine moments when heaven intervenes in Earth's timeline for a specific purpose. And so that is literally when God is interceding in your life. And this is a time, it's an appointed time. So this means it's a point in time that was already preordained, predestined. And what you do in your Chronos is what allows you to be able to identify when you are experiencing a Kairos. And I know that can sound so like, what are you talking about? So complicated. But I really hope through our conversation today, I can really break it down for you guys. But also, I'm still learning too. So let's learn together. And so essentially, when we are thinking about this, Chronos, even as I was doing this study, it just kept being harped onto me that Chronos, it's so important what I do in my everyday life, in my routine. Because it's not about, waiting for a Kairos. It's about what you do in the waiting for the Kairos. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by what do you do when you're waiting in the Kairos? What in my Chronos moments, what am I doing in my everyday life that is not a waste of time? What am I doing in my life that can be aiding in my purpose, that can be growing me as a person, working on myself, working on my relationships? That's me stewarding my Chronos, my time well, in the now, while I have it, the present. That is what's going to guide me and lead me to that point where I experience my Kairos. As I was going through this study, one of the things that the Holy Spirit talked to me about was time can happen to you or for you. And time is constantly happening to us. Like, as I'm sitting here, seconds, minutes, hours are going by. It's out of my control. Time will be happening to all of us, no matter what. Like, everyone's going to age. Everyone's going to get older. Time happens to you. Time happens to everyone. But time can also happen for you. Time doesn't have to be a passive thing in your life. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. And so time happening for you? How do I make time happen for me? By how I steward my chronos, how I steward my everyday mundane life, in other words, how I do my routine. What am I doing every day that is building me up for that Kairos moment? What am I doing with the time that I have now? Am I just sitting around and doing nothing? It makes me think about how, let's say one of your goals is just to have a more active and healthier lifestyle. And eventually you want to get to that point where you have like your ideal shape, your ideal body, whatever the case, whatever it may look like for you. But you don't just get there overnight. It's not just going to happen in an instant. It's how you steward the time leading up to that. So being consistent in how much and what you're eating, being consistent in working out, being consistent, making sure you get enough water, being consistent in taking your vitamins, like what you're doing in your everyday that's leading to that future. And we're not always going to know when Kairos moments happens. You don't know the time necessarily when it happens. There is a time for it. It is going to happen at some point, but you don't know that time. So what are you doing now leading up to it? It makes me think about the parables of the 10 virgins in the Bible, and 5 of them had oil with them on the journey in case their lamp burnt out, because they didn't know when the bridegroom was going to arrive. No one had any idea. They knew it was coming. So your Kairos moment is coming, but you don't know when. So you have to be prepared. You have to be stewarding that time until it arrives. And so 5 brought oil while the other 5 didn't bring oil. And when the bridegroom did come, because he ended up coming at a later time than they expected, the 5 who didn't have oil ended up missing seeing the bridegroom. And the 5 who did have oil didn't miss that time to see the bridegroom. They didn't miss their Kairos because of how they steward their Chronos. And I'm saying a lot of Kairos and Chronos, but guys, like, it had never became more apparent to me in that moment as I'm going through this study that I cannot waste my time. I cannot let time pass me by if time can happen for me. I don't want to miss an appointed time where I'm receiving a breakthrough or a blessing or a miracle because I have just done nothing with the Chronos. I don't want to be ill prepared for the blessing. I want to be able to arrive before it even meets its destination. The thing is, your Kairos moment is for you. It's not for anyone else. It's for you. This is an appointed time with your name written on it, with your destiny, with your purpose being that was ingrained in it. It is for you. I don't want to miss out what's for me because I wasn't taking care of what needs to be taken care of before. I wasn't stewarding well, thinking I had all the time in the world, thinking that this opportunity is going to come to me again. No. That's the thing. With Kairos moments, who knows if it's going to come to you again? Who knows if the opportunity is going to come knocking at your door again? You got to be ready. Be ready so you don't have to get ready. Isn't that the saying? Even I wrote down, Kairos is a divinely orchestrated moment, a season of fulfillment. However, it is directly impacted by how we handle our Chronos. If you waste the daily opportunities to grow, prepare, and obey God, you can miss your Kairos. So we're not doing nothing in the time. We're not doing nothing in the waiting. There's something to be done as we are waiting for this divine moment. I think about David in the Bible. There was an appointed time that God had written that he would be declared king and he would lead the Lord's people. How long did that take though? And in that time leading up to that point, David was in his Chronos. He was a shepherd's boy. He was tending to the flock. When it came to when he was slayed Goliath, he had fought lions and bears before to protect his flock. He wasn't just waiting for the time he'll be appointed to be king. He was stewarding the time leading up to it. He was growing. He was maturing. He was developing skills. He was growing in a relationship with God. So that when the time came for him to be king, he would have been prepared. He would be ready to take it on. Why he was able to do that is because he was stewarding his Chronos well. And so you don't miss your Kairos when you're in the will of God. How do we steward our Chronos well? By being in the will of God, by being aligned, by seeking His design for your life right now. When I think about all of this, one of the things that I came to understand and is that God isn't going to place what is precious in unprepared hands. I remember telling my friend this, God isn't in a rush. Why are you? Like he's eternal, so he stands outside of time, but there's also time. Like God created time for us to operate within, but he also stands outside of time, which is why we don't know when our Kairos moments appear, because Kairos moments are divinely orchestrated by heaven and by God. And so us within our time frame, within our Chronos, don't know when it shows up. But just because we don't know when it shows up doesn't mean we can't expect it to show up. We have to be expecting our Kairos moments to happen, because if you're not expecting it, you're not going to prepare for it. I expect my birthday to come September 27th every single year. And I have to prepare for that every single year. As it gets closer, more preparation is put into place, especially if I want to have like a giant party or go on vacation. A lot of preparation has to go into this because I'm expecting my birthday to come around at some point, and I have to make sure I'm prepared for when it does. Or even when I think about people who are wanting to be engaged, they're like, I'm in a relationship right now. I don't know when he's going to propose to me, but I can prepare myself for that. I can work on our relationship, strengthen our communication skills. We can build on like what our future goal is, what our financial goals are right now, because I'm expecting to get engaged soon. I don't know when he's going to propose to me. Or even when you see the girls who are doing their videos and they're like, I think he's going to propose to me, and they get their nails done and they get their hair done and they do their makeup, all the things, because they're expecting a proposal. They don't know when the proposal is going to be, but they want to make sure that they're prepared so they don't miss that time. It's being in that posture of expectation. And when you're expecting something, you use your time more intentionally. I got to be expecting it. I got to be expecting it. I got to be expecting there's going to be this time where all my prayers are going to be fulfilled and answered, but I don't want to miss it. I want to make sure that I'm prepared. I don't want it to catch me off guard, because if it catches me off guard, I might just miss it. I might not be able to identify it if I'm not already in this posture of expecting it. And so that was really good for me to like understand, because it makes me think about farmers. Because when farmers plant a seed, they are expecting a harvest, and they can roughly estimate when it would be. Maybe this one would come out in September, October, November. But the time of harvest is honestly different every single year. They just maybe have months, but they can't get the exact date down. They just have an idea of when the harvest will be. And so they continue to water, they continue to tend to the seed that they planted, expecting a harvest, so they don't know the exact time, but they know a harvest is coming, so they know they have to continuously tend to the field, tend to the seed to ensure that it can grow and ensure that they are prepared for when the harvest, clear out the weeds, do what they have to do. So it made me think about Chronos. Chronos is your seed time. This is the time where you till and when you water and where you pull out the weeds, and then your Kairos is your harvest. You're not doing nothing with this time. And I know I'm harping on that, but it's really made me have to sit back and think, what am I doing with my time that I have? Am I using my time wisely? Is this pushing me further in purpose? Is this going to help me accomplish my goals? And not every single thing do we have to overthink, but am I wasting more time than actually using my time? Like, am I? Like, I think about that when I'm just on my phone, going through TikTok. We're all guilty of this, just scrolling through TikTok will really get you down a rabbit hole. And before you know it, an hour has passed and you've just been scrolling, mindlessly scrolling. In that hour, I literally could have been doing anything else. In that hour, I could have been editing. Literally, I could have been editing within an hour. In that hour, I could have gotten a workout. In that hour, I could have took a nap. Like anything else, like that would have been more useful with my time. And I also think it's important to understand that I think and I'm guilty of this. I think we always think that busyness means that you are productive. Like, being really busy means that you're using your time well, you're stewarding your time well. No, because busyness can also be distraction. Busyness can actually be distracting you for what you actually should be using your time for. Busyness can be distracting you from purpose. So busyness does not equate to productivity, and I have fallen down that rabbit hole so many times, because stewarding my Chronos well means me working in God's will. It means me aligning myself with God's purpose for my life. If God is calling me right now in my life as a nurse, right? I am a nurse, and that is my profession. Ways that I cannot be wasting my time in my profession is constantly refining my skills, keeping up to date with health practices and policies, ensuring that I am honestly working out so that when I need to boost my patient, I can boost them, and that I'm not causing any back pain towards myself. Because let me tell you something. Nursing is manual labor too. So doing all those things so to ensure that I can be aligned within the purpose, that time that God is calling me right now in my Chronos. Not just doing anything, but doing specific things within his will for my life. That is how I'm doing my Chronos well. That because me just being busy doesn't mean that I'm being productive. And discerning between that was like, wow, okay. I realized, God, that maybe I haven't been purposeful. I've just been busy. I've just had things consuming my time, not necessarily being purposeful with my time. Like, I've been consuming time instead of using this time for development, for progress. It's actually stagnation disguised as busy. It's not progress. In the study that I'm going through, she said one of the tactics of the enemy isn't always destroy, but to distract. It isn't always destruction, just distraction. Because if I can get you distracted, then you're going to be stagnant in your purpose, because you're not doing anything aligned with your purpose. So you're going to be stagnant with it. There's going to be delay in it. And so, wow, that was just so good, guys. And that is why we have to be so intentional and think about what we're using our time with. What are we using our time for? How can I have time happen for me, not just to me? I don't want time passing me by. I want to be working within the time. And so what are some things that distract us and prevent us from actually doing that? So in the study, she actually goes through what are time wasters. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I am guilty of quite a few of these time wasters. Busyness is just one of them that we just talked about, and distraction was another one. But there are quite a few that maybe can help us identify what we are not using our time wisely with. Because if we're going to be better stewards of our time, we need to understand what is wasting our time. So I wrote it down, and one of the things I wrote down is every moment spent on wrong things is a moment where you're away from your purpose. And so what are these time wasters? Procrastination. And I know people say like, well, I work best under pressure when I'm procrastinating. Are you? Do you? Some people are like, my best work comes out of procrastination. I don't know if that's necessarily true. And I feel like I really can't speak to that, because I've never been one who's actually struggled with procrastination. And that's not me trying to toot my own horn. I just generally have a Nigerian mother who, when I was a child, and this moment is ingrained in my head, where she looked at me and she's like, don't you have a project due? And I was like, it's not due until a week from now. Like, what I gotta worry about that for? And she was like, well, if you get it done now, then you have the rest of the time to play and do whatever you want, instead of playing now and then you leave it to the end and then you gotta do it. I was like, oh, I never thought of it that way. I guess you're right. If I just get it done now, then I have the rest of the time for myself. And so that has just been ingrained in my head, that moment. So I've never really struggled much with procrastination, but I do know that's a thing for people. But apparently that is a time waster. So, hey, maybe you want to reassess that. Another time waster is gossip. Listen, I'm guilty. Okay, just handcuff me now. I'm guilty. Okay, and I really do try not to gossip. And I think one of the things I used to think that I was like, I'm not a gossip. I don't talk about anybody else's business. But when we think about celebrities and all these things, and I fully talk about it with my friends, influencers, all these things, I'm fully talking about it. Just because I don't know the person personally doesn't mean I'm not gossiping about them. I think I constantly related gossip to me having a personal relationship with someone and talking about them. But even people who you don't know, you can be gossiping about. That's why they're called gossip blogs. They don't know these people personally, but they're just talking about their lives, talking about them. You are participating in gossip. And that highly convicted me because I was like, that's gossip? You sure? The information's already, no, that's gossip and you're wasting your time, because why are we having 2-hour phone conversations about people who you don't know? Clock it. Like, why are we having 2-hour phone conversations about people who we don't know? At that point, we might as well be talking about people who we do know. Like, and I'm not condoning gossip, but like, let's be so for real right now. Like, that is one of the ways that we are just wasting our time. So I really do try not to like follow like any blogs or TMZ or the Shade Room, Shade Borrow, even though it can be entertaining. Like, we love to be like, oh, it's entertaining. It's already out there. That's what you signed up for with putting your life out there. Okay, you're still gossiping. Like let's call it spade a spade. You're still gossiping, and that is wasting your time. So stop wasting your time on that. It's useless. It's useless. Really. Next time waster. And this one, guys, this one really cut me deep, is perfectionism. Because it's one of my greatest struggles in life, perfectionism. And it's why I have this podcast, to remind myself it's all about progression, not perfection. That is something I struggle with, and it's actually a time waster. A time waster. And to me, I'm like, what do you mean a time waster? Like, making things perfect? How can that be a thing that wastes time? Well, here's what it is. Perfectionism. You're constantly waiting for things to be perfect. You're waiting for all the stars to align. You're waiting for all the blueprint to finally be done and be laid out perfect, pristine, all the resources, all the materials, all the skills. You're waiting. That is the deception of perfectionism. You think you're waiting for things to be perfect when all you're doing is just, in the wait, you're just wasting time when you could have just started. Don't wait for everything to be perfect, because nothing will ever be perfect. Just do it. As you're waiting for things to be perfect, you're actually wasting time. Time is just passing you, and someone else is doing it. One of the things that I came to understand, I actually told my friend this, the difference between an inventor and a consumer is that the inventor just did it. Like the light bulb, I'm sure not just, it was Thomas Edison, right? Guys, please, like fact check me on that. I think it was Thomas Edison. Just fact check me on that, please. Spare me, okay? I'm not a history teacher. Please spare me. I think it was him. It was him, right? Who created the light bulb. I'm sure he was not the only person who was thinking about the light bulb. I'm sure he was not the only person who was thinking that. I'm sure there was other people who were also thinking about the internet, other people who were also thinking about the car, right? They were thinkers, but they became consumers because they weren't the inventors. The inventors just did. The inventors didn't wait until it was perfect. They didn't wait till they had all the skills. They were willing to do the trial and error. They were willing to have failure be a part of the process, because failure is a part of the process. And so they were willing to go through that. They weren't waiting for things to be perfect, and that's what made them an inventor and not a consumer. I think about that all the time. I was like, if I just invented a Band-Aid, where would my life be right now? Like, I'm being so like, I'm pretty sure that there wasn't just one person who thought about the Band-Aid, but one person did it. They weren't waiting. They weren't wasting time. They steward their time when they're like, you know what? I'm going to put action behind these thoughts. I want to use my time doing this. Instead, I know other people are, I don't know, maybe partying. I know other people are probably just going to school, doing whatever, but I want to focus on use my time to create a Band-Aid. Now, look at what we use Band-Aids for. It's everywhere. Like, I just think about that sometimes. I just think about sometimes where my life would be if I created a Band-Aid. But I just think how the inventors steward their time, and that's what made them the inventor instead of the consumer. They didn't stop at the thought, but they were like, what can I be doing with my time? I can actually use my time to bring this idea to life. I can be preparing for this. I can be working on this and bring it to life. What can I be doing with my time right now? And how can I use my time to advance me to my purpose? Time is actually not just a gift, but it's a tool to advance you in purpose. It's just all about how you use it. And then another time waster, I'm going to give us one more time waster, and that is comparison. Comparison. There is nothing that will suck up your time more and your soul and your energy and your vibes than comparison. Like, comparison could really just defeat a person if you're constantly like, oh, well, they're smarter than me, or oh, they're stronger than me, or they have more resources than me, or da. And some of these things can be true, but it doesn't have to limit you. Like, your limitations aren't the same as someone else's limitations, and everyone has limitations. There's always going to be someone stronger than you. There's always going to be someone smarter than you. There's always going to be someone faster than you. But it doesn't stop you from being able to fulfill your purpose, because your purpose is aligned and attuned to you. It's attuned to who you are and to your limitations and to what you can and cannot do and what you will be able to do. That is fully your purpose. It's unique and individualistic to you, which is why you don't need to compare yourself to other people, because they don't have the same purpose. So comparison is just wasting your time. It's just wasting your time. It's wasting your time thinking about what they're doing, what they got going on, what you got going on. What are you doing? Because that's all you need to focus on. That has everything to do with who you are, because only you can do your purpose. And so with that being said, when we have identified time wasters, and I honestly want you guys to take the time to identify time wasters within your life. Maybe that relationship is a waste of your time. Maybe that job is a waste of your time. Like, let's really identify places and spaces that we shouldn't be in, but we just are operating in. I know that the job that I'm currently at isn't wasting my time, because one, God put me in that place. Like, I couldn't get out of there even if I wanted to. God put me in that place, but I see how, because I've aligned myself with His will for my job and my career, how I'm growing, how I'm learning, how I'm maturing, and how I am stewarding my time well within this career. And that is helping me become a better nurse each and every single day. So when the appointed time comes for God to elevate me in my nursing career, I'm ready. But I can imagine there being a world if I wasn't aligned to God in that way and I was working somewhere else that He did not call me to, that would actually be wasting my time. Even though they're both nursing jobs, one job was one God called me to be in, designed me to be in, fashioned and made a way for me to be in, and the other wasn't. And so one is keeping me busy and not stewarding me closer to purpose, and the other is. And it's how I align myself with the Lord. If I'm going to steward my time well, I need to align myself with God's will for my life and His design for my life. If I'm going to be intentional with my time, I need to be intentional about seeking God. That's really how we are going to be proper stewards of our time, guys. There's no getting around it. No, that's really how we're going to be proper stewards of our time, guys. By being intentional in our stewardship, in our relationship with God. Because He is the author and finisher of our story, and He is the one who designs appointed times. Like, think of it this way. If God is the designer of Kairos moments, of appointed times in our life, they're designed and ordained by God, who else can get you to them other than God? How do you get to that point in time? Well, by inquiring and seeking the Lord in your everyday life, so that when that time comes, it doesn't pass you by. Who else to go to other than the one who created that time, than to know how to utilize your time leading up to it? Because the thing is, if you're waiting for a breakthrough, if your Kairos moment is a breakthrough in your career, in your relationship, in your life, then seek the one who makes the breakthrough, so that in that time leading up to the breakthrough, you're doing His will, abiding His will, so you don't miss that breakthrough. Like, genuinely, that's what makes me think about, like, how I steward my Chronos is all about how I am intentionally seeking the Lord and asking Him, how do I do it? How do I abide in it? How do I abide in You? How do I abide in Your word? How do I do this? I don't want time to pass me by anymore. I want it to happen for me. So show me the way. He created our purpose. We are all created on purpose, for a purpose. So why don't I ask the designer of the purpose, what I can do in the, like what I meant to do in the design. It is honestly such a gift that God allows us to live and breathe within time that he created and be able to receive it. It boils back to the fact that time is a gift. And so he is the designer of time, designer of Kairos, designer of Chronos, designer of my purpose. So I should be seeking him to know what I should be doing in this moment. So I'm aligned, not disaligned. And to remove every single time waster that is actually pulling me away from using my time wisely. I got to use my time wisely because I don't know how much of it I have. That's it. I have to use my time wisely, guys, because I don't know how much of it I have. I don't know how much time, and I'm not even just speaking in terms of like life and death perspective, like, because that is a little bit morbid, but I also don't know how much time I have with my loved ones, the people in my life. But I don't mean that in terms of anyone's going to pass away soon. I'm not wishing that on anyone, but even just in a sense of, I don't know how long this person's going to be in my life. I don't know how long I'm going to be in their life. Am I during the time I have with them well? Am I appreciating them while they're here? I don't know how long I'm going to have this job. I mean, that job that you're complaining about every single day, complaining about that coworker, complaining about that boss, complaining about that supervisor every single day. You don't know how long you're going to have that job for. So are you using the time, using the benefits while you can? Are you stewarding it well? While you can, in that time, while you have it, are you using it well? Are you using it wisely? Are you using it to build you and draw you closer to your purpose? Or is it only something that's pulling you away? I have to think about this. We have to do this, guys. I actually don't think there's any other option. Or I'm just going to keep missing my Kairos. There is actually, I said there isn't any other option, but there is another option, guys, to just miss it. To just miss it. That is the other option. If you don't want to steward your Chronos well, if you don't want to steward your time well, if you don't want to be wise with the time that you have here, that you're just going to miss opportune times, blessings, pivotal moments, and chances that you may never get again, that will only grow you further in purpose. That will only strengthen you, build you, and grow you as a person and individual. You're only going to keep missing those moments because you're not doing the work to even identify them or be prepared for them. You have options, actually. I said there's no other option. You do. To miss it or to live it. To miss it or receive it. And I want us to receive our Kairos moments, but it starts with how we are living in our Chronos. And so let's live in our Chronos, aligned and obedient in God's will and purpose for our life. And if you don't know that yet, seek him. He will show you. He will reveal it. I even am thinking about now all the plans that I have for 2026. And I'm just like, God, what do you want me to do with this time? I don't even know how much time we have left. I mean, it's February now, so I don't know how many more days of the year we have left, but you have let's think about in terms of a year, you have 365 days. God willing. We all make it to the end of this year. In Jesus' name, amen. That is so much time. And so little time all at the same time. And I just said time so many times that made me laugh. But 365 days. What are you doing with these 365 days? You know how they're like, you have 365 days to change your life. You really do. You really do, because that is so much time that passes by. I even think about Jesus, 3 days. In 3 days, that was 72 hours. In that amount of time, he died and rose again and brought salvation to the entire world. Aligned in his will and aligned in the will of the Father and fulfilled his purpose. Within 3 days and within that time span, he was able to do that. Time did not pass Jesus by. Time actually happened for him, and in turn, it happened for the rest of us because it brought us eternal life. Don't waste your time. Be intentional with it. Steward it well so that we are people who are faithful in our Chronos and living out our Kairos. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode, this conversation. I hope it gives you a new perspective and outlook on time and that it's a gift and how you're using your time. And I genuinely hope that we just become more faithful and better stewards of our time. We're constantly learning and growing, and I'm surely not perfect at it yet. But I think if we just do more than we just think and are a lot more intentional in our pursuit of our purpose, and most importantly, the Lord, we will be people who live both our Chronos and our Kairos. I would love to hear your comments down below. Please let me know what you think. And I look forward to seeing you guys again next week for another episode of Still Learning. Bye.